Man, I want y'all to excuse my little Android phone. I want to talk about Planned Parenthood is for men. Planned Parenthood is not for women. And when I'm speaking about this, I'm not talking about the actual building. I'm talking about the act and the institution itself of raising children, of fatherhood, of starting families. Things lacking not just in the black community, but in just masculinity worldwide. And this is kind of like more of a red pill, type knowledge game. But I just think that it's just wisdom that could just help, men in general, especially young men. Uh, Whether you in the game or you out the game, man, I want to talk about the importance of strapping up. I mean, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Raw sex, one of the greatest feelings in the world. But when you look at the consequences, whether they be good or bad, when you look at the consequences of it, they're not in the man's favor. They're not in the man's favor. They're not in the man's favor. I remember like looking at some of my just reflecting back when I took ethnic studies back in college, and how the United States measured and looked at the data of when certain groups of people had, kids and everything, and what ages, and looking at, the determining factors. Why one of the people that had kind of stuck out to me was when they talked about Middle Eastern people having children like in their 40s and their 50s. And I'm going to get back to that later in this video. But one of the things that I'm going to talk about when I speak about this Planned Parenthood thing, because I look at the consequences of um, the importance of responsibility on the man. I mean, as we all know, how the child support system pretty much railroads men, and in saying that, I'm not excusing any man from uh, not supporting his child. That's what a man is supposed to do, regardless. But at the same time, too, this is just almost unreal with how it's handled. So I'm trying to give you some tips as to why you want to plan parenthood with the lady that you have in mind, as far as being a high value male. Like me myself, I remember when I found out that my old lady was pregnant. It was crazy because I wasn't planning to have a child until I was 30, which is 2 years away from now. And I had mine when I was about like 24, 25. I was in between jobs, literally had no money in the bank, was not in a house, was not established as a man in any type of way, was not on my purpose, and was getting ready to bring a child into this world. You see, what you have to understand is that once you do that, uh, you are held accountable. You see, society does not necessarily hold women accountable for helping bring a child into this world. As a matter of fact, society establishes and supports women by doing it. When you look at things like uh, abortions, and I'm not trying to sound hypocritical when I say that, but that's what I mean by like the responsibility is on the man. It's not necessarily on the woman, because the woman can get an abortion. She chooses to keep the child, even if it's against the father's will. She will more than likely get custody of your child, and you'll be paying child support. So it's already set, in place that no matter what happens, she's going to have a way out, or she's going to have a way to support her with whatever decision she was made. You, on the other hand, sir, are going to have to look towards overtime, a better job, or getting some money on the side, whether that be legal or illegal. So the planning of the parenthood, man, it's got to be done by you. You have to start thinking about it. It's very, very important that you strap up, that I like to call it insurance, you know what I'm saying? That you're out there covered, with that all state coverage, progressive, whatever, uh, I spend a lot of money on it, personally, but I'm just saying, man, you would rather do that than you'd rather spend, $5, $6, $7 here on a pack than to be paying 500, $600, $800 a month. I mean, you think about it. You know what I'm saying? Whichever one adds up. But you have to look at first off, the consequences, because you don't know if you're going to be with this person for life. You don't know if this is just a moment in time or a season where you and this person get along and things fall apart. Marriage isn't what it used to be back in the day where, for better or for worse, people actually were sticking it out 20, 30 plus years. You know what I'm saying? You can have a good 2, 3, 4, 5 years and then it's over with, and you're paying for something for life. Really. And it's kind of crazy. And the reason why I say about the accountability part is because I know guys right now, even though I'm young, I just heard stories of like men paying child support. 17, 18, 19, 16, 17 years, 18 years, and then giving money on top of that whenever the kid needs something. Now, I know daycare is expensive, but if half of that money is being used on the daycare, that child should have something left over. Come on, man, $500, $600 a month? I remember plenty of times during my young 20s, I think after I cleared all my bills, I probably only had $200 at the end of it. That was to make groceries and gas to get, to a work for my next paycheck. So I know if me as a grown man, I'm eating more than a child, I actually have to have, a roof over my head. If I know that I'm more expensive over time, I know that a child is not consuming that much. The reason why I say that is because even though the court gets a fraction of what you are paying, that's unreal that a lot of these kids have been on, a lot of these kids' fathers have been paying child support, and then when it's time to go to college or even trade school, they don't have anything. So that's why I stress the accountability on your part, because I don't want to see men lose. I don't want to see you lose in that situation. Now I'm talking about the more positive aspect of it is that, let's say you do find the right person. Oh my gosh, this is your wife. Y'all both love each other. Y'all gonna be down for each other. You have to take into consideration that you want to plan out raising children, having children, because a lot of people have children before they are financially ready, before they are emotionally ready, before they are spiritually ready, before they have the time constraints to do it. You want to raise a child where you're able to spend a lot of time with that child. You want to be able to raise a child where you are able to, you can put that child in different activities and it's not a constraint, or you have to say no because financially at that time it will hurt the family. Now I'm talking about like that, with the Middle Easterns and stuff like that. From what I studied at my college, I kind of thought about it, put two today. I say, man, if you're having children like in your mid to late 30s, 40s, or even in some cases, people having children, having their first child like at 50 something years old. But you have to look at, especially for a man in this society, men age like houses. As you go up in age, like, you should be getting better. Like, what I mean by that is that when you first jump out the gate, a lot of men are not jumping out the gate as CEOs. A lot of men are not jumping out the gate as like project managers. A lot of men are not jumping out of high school and are into leadership positions. What I'm saying is that over time, as you get older and as you get wise and as you've been stacking up your money and as you have been gaining knowledge and wisdom and becoming a more complete man, that you are, in my opinion, ready for a partner, ready for a child. First you have to complete yourself before you try to find all of these other things to contribute to your life, to add to you. When you're out here, you're trying to struggle. You're out here trying to hustle. You're struggling. You got car notes. You're in an apartment. You're not in a home yet. And you're out here trying to have, children and bring them in with daycare, and different things. And your job situation isn't stable. You don't know if this is a career that you're gonna stay in. Like, on one hand, you have a lot of people making it like that. On another hand, I'm just saying that if you can plan it out, if you can strategize it, if you can choose, and when I say by choosing is that you are strapping up until y'all were both ready, until y'all are both settled, until y'all saying, okay, we have all of our shit together, we got all of our stuff in order. Now we're ready to go have a child. And I mean, it's just kind of one of those things, if you were to go skydiving, would you want to go skydiving and you didn't know how to fold your parachute and you didn't know where the emergency clamps was and you weren't situating, you just ran, you just jumped out and just hope that somebody could save you? Or would you rather plan it out, know where you're going, when you're jumping out, and all of the factors into consideration? I'm not saying that anything can't go wrong, that things don't, happen, but I'm just saying is that if you have the wisdom and use it. So, like, back to the Planned Parenthood part, I really stress upon the men, because I say that you really have a lot to lose in today's society through marriage and through bringing in either bringing in a child or bringing in children. You have a lot more to lose than a woman does. You have a lot to gain, because children are a blessing. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the first time I looked into my daughter, I was the first person that my daughter saw when she came out of the womb. That was the first time I actually valued another human, like, life. I can understand when people say, like, hey, I fell in love the first time that I saw my child. It happened to me. That changed who I was as a person, as an individual. It changed me on a spiritual level. But in saying that, what I'm saying is that when you look at the financial part, because there are some guys, I've known men who married, had a child, divorced, went and had another family with the person that they were supposed to be with, or with the one, a successful family, loving relationship, and yet money was coming out of the household where the man wanted to be at, going into another household where, whether it was properly handled or whether it was misappropriated. Because there are plenty of situations where you do have women doing the right thing, doing right by the child. And there are plenty of situations where the women are getting that money and it's like early retirement for them. And if they got multiple children, I mean, it's plenty like, shoot, I ain't got to do nothing for the next 17, 18 years. I'll pop out another kid and just let these checks stack up. And I'll go take me, vacations. I'm going to make sure that my nails are done. These kids, they got Jordans, on their feet, but they ain't got no money set aside in no mutual funds. They got no money set aside in no trust funds for the kids. The kids still ain't got money to go into the little league, football, basketball, gymnastics and stuff. It's a lot of BS going out there. So, Planned Parenthood, you have to plan it. You have to plan it as a man. All right? So that right there is my little sermon for today.